this presentation. I hope you're all back. It's called The Lord's Breath. It's something I've been working with. I have a spiritual teacher in the Netherlands, and he taught this to me, and I thought it would be worthwhile to share it with our community, our online community. And basically, it's a way of activating our human tree of life, which is within the MerKaVah. And by activating our tree of life, we can connect to our MerKaVah, which for people who are more advanced in their spiritual practice can use that to travel throughout the universe in their light body throughout the various dimensions. And I have not done that yet. So this is just another tool to help you in your spiritual process. If it works for you, you'll have it at the end of this presentation, and do with it what you will. So I wanted to start out with the meaning of the tree of life. Oh, by the way, going back, that's me at UCLA in my early 20s. Sort of a hippie. And this is me now. And this is my human tree of life, my transformation. It never ends. And so I thought that would be an interesting perspective. A connection to everything. The tree of life commonly represents the interconnectedness of everything in the universe. It symbolizes togetherness and serves as a reminder that you're never alone or isolated. It's a good thing to remember, but rather that you're connected to the world. The roots of the tree of life dig deep and spread into the earth, thereby accepting nourishment from Mother Earth, and its branches reach up to the sky, accepting energy from the sun and the moon. So it's basically, this is all about connecting heaven and earth, and we are the vehicle that in between. Trees are universal symbol of strength and growth as they stand tall and strong all over the world. They spread their roots deep into the soil, to the ground, and stabilize themselves. Trees can weather the toughest of storms, which is why they are such a prominent symbol for strength. The tree of life represents growth, as a tree starts out as a small, delicate sapling and grows over a long time into a giant, strong tree. The tree grows up and outwards, representing how a person grows stronger and increases their knowledge and experiences throughout their lifetime. Individually, the tree symbolizes one's individuality, as trees are all unique with their branches sprouting at different points and in different directions. It symbolizes a person's personal growth into a unique human being, as different experiences shape them into who they are. Over time, trees gain more unique characteristics as branches break off, new ones grow, and the weather takes its toll, all throughout which the tree remains strong and sturdy. This is a metaphor for how people grow and change throughout their lifetime, and how their unique experiences mold them and enhance their individuality. The tree of life symbol indicates that all forms of life are connected through cosmic energy, and that we as humans should live in harmony with the rest of all living beings. A good indication of whether to go with something or not is it in harmony with life? And I will proceed. So this is the circle of life. So this is a Kabbalistic tree of life symbol for the tree of life, which produces the flower of life, or the flower, which produces the fruit, and the fruit produces the seed. And the seed in turn produces the tree. This is a never-ending cycle of life. And here's a tree of life. It's very esoteric. I'm not going to go into explaining it. I don't really understand it that well myself from the Kabbalistic perspective. It's a lifelong study. my first spiritual teacher in 71, taught from the Kabbalah. He had 8 different nights, and he taught that the essence of each of the major religions of the world, the spiritual essence was the same as the spiritual essence of Judaism, which is represented by the tree of life. And here's a pendant. What I did was, after I brought sacred geometry into the LA Unified School System, and after 10 years of teaching it, I wanted something to symbolize it. So I went out and searched the world and found something I really loved. It was a Sri Yantra, a slightly different pattern. And I started wearing it, and strangers were stopping me in the streets and saying, "Where can I get one?" So I started buying them wholesale, and I developed a whole business out of that. It's sacredpendants.org or sacredpendants.com. And I have 65 different patterns representing all the spiritual traditions and cultures throughout the world, just like my first teacher did. And I did it by creating pendants that are made in India, handmade in India, and my wife energizes them so that they work to help people energetically move forward in life. And I also started a business called violetflameglass.com, and this is violet glass, where I put sacred geometry symbols on them and affirmations underneath the symbols, and the energy of the glass, which keeps things fresher longer, and the meaning of the symbol and the power of the affirmation, they work synergistically together to create a very wonderful tool to also enhance your life. So all the things I do, my products and the email blasts, I have a Sacred Friends community, sacredfriends.org, where I announce a lot of positive things and products and people that inspire me. That's sort of my calling, to share good information with people that hopefully uplifts. So now I want to go into the MerKaVah, which is the tree of life is inside of the MerKaVah. So you need to activate the tree of life in order to trigger the MerKaVah to do its thing. The MerKaVah is a divine light vehicle allegedly used by serious adepts to connect with and reach those in tune with higher realms. Mer means light, Ka means spirit, Va means body. MerKaVah means spirit body surrounded by counter-rotating fields of light, wheels within wheels, spirals of energy, as in DNA, which transports spirit body from one dimension to another. This is esoteric, and you know, you may or may not believe in this, but it's a lot of mystics are into this and swear by it. In modern esoteric teachings, it is taught that MerKaVah is an interdimensional vehicle consisting of 2 equally sized interlocking tetrahedra of light with a common center, where one tetrahedron points up and the other points down. In his books, researcher and physicist Drumvalo Melchizedek, he was my first sacred geometry teacher, describes this figure as a star tetrahedron. A tetrahedron is a 3-dimensional triangle, and if you put one inside the other and one points up and one points down, it forms a sort of a star tetrahedron. Since it can be viewed as a 3-dimensional Star of David, it is taught that one can activate a non-visible saucer-shaped energy field around the human body that is anchored at the base of the spine. Once activated, the saucer-shaped field can carry one's consciousness directly to higher dimensions. And here is a symbol of a human with an activated MerKaVah. Very beautiful. The tree of life is within the MerKaVah. You enter the MerKaVah through the tree of life. There is an emanation from spirit that enters our human tree of life. And through a series of alchemical alchemical transmutations ultimately plants itself into matter. So we're talking about the human being used to translate spirit into matter. And there's a human activated. We all have the angelic potential. And through that activation, we have an opportunity to connect with source, with all that is, the limitless unknown, the beyond the beyond. So here's sort of the meat of this. This is the Lord's breath, and I thought it'd be interesting to view this while I read the essence of what we're doing here. The spirit, which is vast, silent, formless, and all-pervading, sufficient unto itself for one and free, called by names such as the source, all that is, God, Jehovah, Allah, the Lord, I am, and is actually beyond words. Born of that realm is the impulse for manifestation into the light of consciousness. The beginning of creation shines itself as emanation, streaming into the area above the heart. So from source, the light streams, emanates onto the body. We often see people's heads shining with this light. It's depicted in many pictures, and when people are really connected spiritually, you can see and feel their light. So the light is signified. This is Yod He Vav He is the symbol, which is symbolic for the human body. The Yod is the top letter, and it's where the light emanates from into the Yod. And this light of spirit, which comes from the infinite, is inclined to create and becomes love that centers in the heart. So then you have the He, which is the second letter, and that represents the heart, the love and creation. Light is clothed with love and puts a garment upon itself called creation. Love is what creates and sustains itself in creation. As love proceeds, it assembles itself into the formation of power. And that's the third letter, represents like the spine, the core of the body. The force of intentionality, conviction, our wills asserting itself. The love is becoming more intense, more purposeful, more assertive, moving down into our gut. The base of our spine. This part is more of an inward movement. So you see, we started with spirit, and spirit came down through light into our body, activating the heart, and love, which is the emanation of the light, became the creation of love. And then, like I said, it proceeds, it assembles itself into the formation of power, the form of intentionality, conviction, our will asserting itself. The love is becoming more intense. So this is the energy flowing through the body, the energy of spirit becoming matter, more purposeful, more assertive, moving down into our gut, the base of our spine. This is more of an inward movement. As this power then moves downward into our hips and legs, it becomes an outward manifestation as expressed through action, working, doing, effort, and exertion. So that's more of an outer expression. It's an inner experience of power, forming the power. And then it's expressed outwardly into action, creation, making, and doing. Then we become grounded in the world of matter And ultimately, we know spirit as matter and matter as spirit. Our bodies, our human tree of life, closes the gap between matter and spirit. And that's the process of activating our tree of life, which in turn activates our MerKaVah to travel the dimensions. And you hear lots of meditations where you breathe in the heavenly light or the divine, and then you breathe out into the earth or matter. And this is a more practical way of visualizing and feeling the process. So it sort of brings it down to earth, where you have a more objective way of experiencing the process. This is another way of visualizing it. Spirit flows into light, and light flows into love, and love into power, and power into action, and action into matter. All 6 of these characters are the MerKaVah, which is a 3-dimensional Star of David. The 4 inner aspects, light, love, power, and action, are the tree of life. Working with these 4 qualities between spirit and matter is called the Lord's breath. And they connect at all these points, and it forms the Star of David. So, all that being said, I think we can start to experience the Lord's breath, a hands-on meditation. So, again, we're going from the emanation from Source or God into the creation, into formation, into making and doing or action. We're going from the light to the love, to the power, to the action. This is a technique for awakening the MerKaVah. We can do a few counts for each step. You start with, you inhale, and then exhale, 2, 3, 4, and then inhale, 2, 3, 4. Exhale, 2, 3, 4. 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 Inhale, 2, 3, 4. Hold your exhale. Inhale, 2, 3, 4. Hold your inhale. Exhale, 2, 3, 4. Hold your exhale. Inhale, 2, 3, 4. Visualize above your head as you're holding your exhale. Inhale and feel the expansion of the heart. As you hold your inhale, feel your belly and your spine contract your anal sphincter. As you exhale, relax into the gravity of the earth. Above the head, and exhale. Inhale, feel the expansion of the heart. Exhale, contract the pelvic floor. Excuse me. Exhale, relax into gravity. Sorry. Okay, so feel the light in your exhale. Your okay, I'm messing it up. Sorry. Okay, inhale, 2, 3, 4. Exhale, 2, 3, 4. Inhale, 2, 3, 4. Exhale, 2, 3, 4. Hold the exhale as you feel the light emanation. Now inhale the love into your heart, creation. Hold the inhale. Contract your pelvic floor, power formation. Then exhale and relax into gravity, into action. Feel the light. Feel the love. Feel the power. Do the action. Hold your exhale, emanation. Inhale the creation. Hold power, the formation. Contract pelvic floor. Exhale into action. Light, love, power, action. Light, love, power, action. Now focus on the emanation. Inhale the light above your head. Exhale. Inhale the light above your head. Feel the light. Exhale. Inhale the light above your head. Exhale. Focus on your heart. Inhale the love. Creation. Exhale. Inhale the love. Creation. Exhale. Inhale the love. Exhale. Bring your breath to a normal state and just sit in the Lord's breath. Go into the silence, into the limitless unknown. Okay.
So Samuel, if you want to stop the screen share, go to the very top and you'll see stop share, and then
Oh, thank
we'll all
God.
come back into the boxes.
Yeah, there you go. Well,
There you go.
okay. So welcome back. Let me open my picture. Start video. Okay.
There you go.
I hope that was a powerful experience for you. It can be. It's a way of really, really connecting the heavens and the earth. And it's almost like we're here to do that, to serve as a connecting rod. And in our full power, we can be so effective in bringing heaven onto earth. And I'd like to know if anybody had any kind of experience or wanted to share anything. Maybe anybody have anything to say?
I have a wonderful experience that at the end of the meditation, I started to vibrate from my head to the toes, and then I saw like my DNA was becoming like infinite signs, the infinite signs connected to each other, and it was just wonderful to feel the light, love, power, and action all within the self, the DNA. Thank you so much. I'm so glad that you're sharing this wonderful experience with everybody. I love you. Thank you.
Thank you, Jennifer. You experienced my presentation before,
Yes.
and it was a little less organized, and it can still be more organized.
Love it. Keep it up.
Anybody else like to share? So I guess you're all speechless.
Danielle had a comment.
Okay.
Thank you, Samuel. This was a very good experience for me. I've always been interested in the Tree of Life and Kabbalah and never really learned much about them. And in particular, my own personal spirituality is very focused on spirit, love, and light. And through this meditation, I experienced a feeling of connecting them and actually manifesting them into life rather than just remaining in the spiritual realm. And I could feel all the time a kind of shimmer of light around my head, even though my eyes were closed. And this kept giving me the power, and I kept feeling inside all powerful, and it was as if I could dissolve any disease. And that was very, very good for me to experience. Thank you.
You're welcome to use this technique if you want. Maybe you'll get more help with your challenges. My I'll just quickly share, and then Patricia. My first spiritual teacher, Daniel Bloxam, he had these 8 different nights of the essence of all the major religions, coming back to the spiritual essence of the Kabbalah. And he said, cover the whole world with Hashem. Hashem is the Hebrew name for God. And he said, I was at UCLA at the time, and he said, when you're looking out into the world, feel that God's eyes are looking through your eyes. And at that time, I was in my 20s, and I was going through a lot of terrible challenges. And I was in my small ego. When I would do that practice, when I looked at the world through God, as if God was looking through my eyes, it would pop me from my small eye into my big eye. And I went into a bliss state of oneness and cosmic consciousness. And it would last for a few minutes, and then I'd lose it and I'd fall back into the small I. And I went back and forth with this for about 3 years, trying to integrate the two states of consciousness. And I finally somewhat was able to integrate it. It's a long process for some. Patricia, where were you? Yeah.
It was interesting because the fact that one had to integrate the body throughout this meditation when we hold the breath, and it really, I could really focus so much following each step of the light, love, power, and action that I think I'm going to bring into my daily meditation.
Please.
It was so powerful. And I like what Danielle said, the fact that there is a call for action, that it doesn't keep me on my cushion, meditation cushion. It will bring productive consequences from these meditations. So thank you so much. I really appreciate your
I'm
presentation.
glad. Jules, thank you.
I just really, I was following the technical aspect at the beginning, but I did study the MerKaVah, and I used to do the meditation like many lifetimes ago. But the minute that you really started explaining it, I just felt all my chakras open, like all the way down, and just really, really strong feeling of just the whole light body, very, very, very strong. And I felt it for a long time, and I can still feel it. So it was really, it's like real in my experience. It's very real.
How was it different from the other MerKaVah meditation you did?
Well, not really different. I had I had a spiritual awakening in my 20s where I really felt my chakras like wake up and stay very awake for several years. And during that time, I did learn the MerKaVah meditation, and I would do drum belows, and then I would combine it with all kinds of other things that I was doing. But I feel like my lesson in this life is not like to just stay in that space. So it's really about bringing the light into the world, you know? So I don't like do those things as much anymore, but it comes up like generally on a daily basis. I feel things in those alignments. Like when something's true, I feel it. And I just really felt reconnected. And it was very powerful, very strong. And I felt connected to everyone here. I felt like a connection to the field of this group in connection with your work. Like you're bringing that energetic, that body of like the collective light body into this group, like by offering this. And I felt a lot of light and love.
Great. The drum below meditation for activating the MerKaVah is very complex, and I found it to be a little overwhelming. So when I was introduced to this about a year or two ago, I found it more tangible. You know, more I could do it. It's workable. Nita, did you want to say something?
Yeah. When in my 20s, I moved here and was sort of flooded with spiritual practices. This was one of the first things I learned, and I totally forgot it. And so sitting here today, all of a sudden it was like, oh my God, I'm back home. And it was very, very energizing. And I love your work. For me, sacred geometry. I remember Dana's presentation of symbolism, and I'm actually going to be doing a talismanic embroidery course this week. And it's all about symbols. And it was a beautiful connection of the breath and spirit and the body. Thank you, Samuel.
You're welcome. My pleasure. Mary Grace.
Yeah, I really appreciate you bringing this, Samuel. I've always appreciated the sacred geometry that you've taught. I've done your class many times. But you know, in the 90s, we had the Sacred Space Center and we had Drumbelow's videotapes. And I had forgotten how powerful that was, the Tree of Life. And it was such an important part of my own spiritual journey. And it's a wonderful reminder. I thought, oh my God, I still have those VHS tapes in my living room. I think I'm going to rewatch them. But I thank you so much for bringing this back for me.
You're welcome. Drumbelow was very smart. He had a 6-day Flower of Life course.
Yeah, I have that.
And he told the people who took the course, make copies of these and give them to your friends.
Yeah.
I was given a copy, an official bootlegged copy of that course. And I used to watch it for hours and hours and hours. I'd fall asleep watching it and I wake up watching it. And it sort of got into me. And when I got a job as a teacher for LA Unified, 6th grade math science, and the kids were turned off to math, a lot of them, I incorporated the information from the sacred geometry and I added videos and music to stimulate their creativity, like the music I played. And they were ultimately, I taught them basic skills with drawing sacred geometry. And they ultimately drew their own sacred designs, their own mandalas. And it was very good, especially the hyperkinetic kids. They did the best at this because it gave them something to do when they finished early. And they was like the little gangsters, and I taught in inner city. And they used to, I had them go around and help the other kids. So it was reversal of the traditional situation. And I did that for 10 years. And then I went public. Anyways, there was someone, yes, Tim.
Yeah, thank you very much, Samuel. There's something that you said when you were at UCLA and your teacher said to look out of your eyes as though looking through the eyes of God.
Yes.
That is incredibly valuable. And in Tibetan Buddhism, what people do is they visualize Tara, who's the goddess of compassion, and then you bring her into your heart, and then now she is inside of you and you are looking out as though looking out through her eyes, which see humanity through loving kindness and compassion. And it truly does shift your view as long as you can hold it. It's hard because we default back to the small I and the ego and me, and like that's our default. So it takes training to try and shift yourself out of it. And if you can do it enough, it starts to become more in the background. You're just sort of living there, but you have to do it again and again. It's a really, really valuable exercise.
Yeah, I did it for it took me 3 years to get a sense of what I was doing.
Yes.
Whitney.
Samuel, we got about 1 minute, or maybe if you want to push it a couple minutes.
Please, Whitney.
Samuel, I've known you for years. It's so cool to meet you. I feel like I'm meeting you for the first time. This has been such an opening session, and thank you. The Christ in me sees the Christ in you, and the Tara in me sees the Tara in you, and the whatever that word was in Hebrew, and that you put that out through your
Hashem.
What is it?
Hashem, I think.
Hashem.
God?
Yeah.
God,
it's been so amazing. Thank you very much, sweetheart.